Good morning and welcome to Eternity Speaks. I'm your host, Reverend Bill Eggleston. I hope that everyone's had a great week and is doing well. This week, I'd like to talk about living in the moment. Uh, Now, I know it's important to have a plan for your future and to have all your ducks in a row, so to speak. And uh, personally, I don't even know where my ducks are at the moment, but that's that's a whole different story. Uh, but that's not the point that I'm trying to make here. Yes, thinking ahead is important, uh, but not at the expense of the moment. When we try to plan too far ahead and spend every waking moment going over that plan and tweaking it and reviewing it, and we tend to miss out on the beauty that's around us. We miss out on those little opportunities to be happy in life, on those moments with friends and with our children and our spouses, and many of us lose track of the importance of of those things. We lose track of the important things in life while chasing that almighty dollar. We're so worried about making ends meet and making that deadline and the hustle and bustle of everyday life and everything that we don't take the time to just stop and take a breath. We miss out on birthdays and soccer games and school plays and holidays and things like that. But most importantly, is we miss out on memories. Um, it's one thing to shower your kids with gifts, get them that new game system and get them a new bike and that's all wonderful things. But those are just things. It's far more important. I'd rather take that money that I was going to spend on that new game system and go on a hike with the kids or go to a museum or something and just watch their faces light up. It's about those building those memories together. uh, things break, things wear out, they lose them, they get replaced. Memories don't. Memories are memories. They stick with you. uh, I mean, we have good memories and bad memories and things like that, but it's important that we try to make as many good memories as we can. uh, we miss out on the happiness when we spend too much time worrying about work and everything else, all the day-to-day stuff. We need to stop and take a moment for ourselves and for our families. We get caught up in those daily routines and in our technology and so much so that we lose sight of what's important. We forget the basic teachings of doing unto others as you'd have them do unto us. Uh, we need to stop and take a look. Uh, it's important to look at yourself through the eyes of your children or through the eyes of your spouse or your friends. uh, you should ask yourself, do I like what I see? Put yourself in their shoes for a minute. Look at everything you've done and everything you say and the way you act around certain things, the way you respond to certain things, and just ask yourself, is that what I would want in a father or in a mother or in a friend? Is that what I would want from them? That's what the whole do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. That's where that comes into play. Uh, if you stop and take stock in yourself and in the way you are and how you are, and you look at it through someone else's eyes, then you tend to learn a lot about yourself. uh, you got to ask yourself, is this the person I want to be? Is this the spouse I want to be, the parent I want to be? um, you just need to take stock in your life and just take a step back. Stop and smell the flowers. uh, don't be afraid to live in the moment just a little bit. Don't be afraid to notice the little things. Take that family vacation. Plan it out. Make it a surprise for your family. Don't tell them about it. Just make sure that the kids are off and your spouse is off and that the timing is right to where you can all go and enjoy everything. But don't necessarily tell them about it. Drop little hints here and there. Make it fun. And then when the time comes, just what, let's go to Disney. Let's do this, or let's go for a ride. And then you get in the car, you all pile up in the car, and you start moving along. And then they don't need to know where you're going necessarily. Surprise them with something. Take that time. Take that trip. You know, uh, wear that crazy embarrassing shirt. Put that on. Who cares? Put that on and just let your kids laugh at you. Just enjoy that time together. Don't be afraid to be to be a little odd. You know, the people that matter the most are they're gonna notice that, and the people that don't seem to get it probably their opinion doesn't really matter a whole lot anyway. um, it's it's about family. It's about making those memories, and just it's about being able to laugh at yourself and being able to enjoy time with others. Just learn to live a little. Eat that donut. Don't worry about the calories in it or the sugar in it, or just eat the donut. You know, life's too short for that to worry so much about making sure you're doing everything the way you're supposed to do it or the way society says you're supposed to do it. Enjoy yourself a little bit. You know, uh, just just do it. you know, Life's meant to be enjoyed. Uh, Learn to live in the moment. Learn to recognize all the gifts that God has given you. Learn to learn to see learn to look at the sky, look at the stars. Take your kids in the backyard at night, and just throw out a blanket and lay there and just look at the stars, point them out. Uh, think of your fond childhood memories that you have, things that you did with your things you did with your dad or things you did with your mom or things that you did with your friends. Those memories, kids these days don't it was different back then. They don't have the same opportunities for enjoyment that like I had as a kid. You're going back 40 years, so times have changed. I'd like to think that my kids are going to have some wholesome memories and things like that. Take that time and point out the constellations and tell them what kind of tree this is or what kind of tree that is, or share stories of your childhood with them. Um, don't ever be afraid to open up to your kids a bit. Let them know that you're not just a parent, you're a person too. You've made mistakes. You understand. You know what they're going through because you've been there. Um, take them on a walk in nature. Go on a hike with them with your family. Plan it out and go on a hike and I don't know, plan a little picnic or something. Plan a little surprise. Put something fun in your backpack. And don't tell anybody about it. And then when you get where you're going, break out sandwiches for everybody or something, or just something special. Do something to live in the moment and enjoy life and just not worry so much. Get back to a little bit simpler of a time. Uh, be that example of happiness to everyone around you. We all know that one person that just lights up a room when they walk in. They just everybody seems to, when they walk in the room and the whole atmosphere just changes. Everybody there's a little tingle of excitement there, just wondering what they're gonna say, or just the people tend to kind of feed off of that positive energy like that. Um, just like when someone very negative walks in the room, you can feel it. It drains the energy in the room. It's the same concept. Be that light, be that shining light in a dim world for people. Don't get caught up in that daily hustle, and learn to take a few chances once in a while. Life's too short to do that. We're only here for a limited time. We're here to learn. So learn all you can, but be as kind and as bright and vibrant as you can be while you're here. Uh, make it your mindset when you get up in the morning. Whose life can I change today? How can I bring more happiness and more light to the world? Uh, it's it's a great life if you let it be, and if you don't, if you let yourself worry and dwell on negative things, and you dwell on the worry, and you feed off that negativity and everything that goes right. Misery loves company. That's not just a statement. That's just a line. That's the truth. Uh, but break free from that. Don't get caught up in things. And well, I've probably rambled on long enough. So at this time, I'm going to turn the show over to Barry and our very special guest, Saint Anne.
Good morning.
Morning.
It is, well, as you know, we live in the mountains. But we
Yeah.
just woke up to about 7 inches of snow here this morning, and it's 26 degrees.
Oh, you can keep that.
So, all of you out there that are enjoying warm temperatures, look out, the front's coming.
Yeah.
All right, very interesting show this morning. St. Anne is the mother of the Blessed Mother Mary.
Okay.
Um, Not a whole lot is known about her. I've been talking to her here before we started. It's a beautiful spirit as they all are.
Mhm.
Next week, St. Thomas Aquinas.
Okay.
So he was one of the great Christian thinkers of the 13th century. So that should be quite interesting as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so let me get started. And St. Anne is here.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody. I want to thank you for allowing me to come through. Most people have never ever heard of me. Well, that's all right. My role was to be sent back to be the mother of the woman that was going to be the mother of Jesus. Well, that made me the grandmother of Jesus, which was a wonderful thing. I want to speak to you about something this morning that I hope all of you understand, and that is a mother's love. When I gave birth to Mary, I thought she was the most beautiful child that anyone could behold. Yes, when I gave birth to her, she was wrinkly and had all the looks of a newborn. Many of them, yeah, I must admit, don't look that good. But Mary had this glow about her. From the first moment that I held her in my arms, I knew she was special. She was an incredible baby. As she grew up, she got along well with her brothers and sisters. You see, it was an absolutely terrible time. The Roman Empire was in turmoil. It was a time that the great rulers were exerting themselves. Now, we never knew what was taking place. We didn't have a radio, we didn't have newspapers. All we would ever know about what was taking place was what we were told. We were told that the system of government was changing. We were told that there were great wars taking place. There were great civil wars. Yes, we were always fighting with somebody. The Romans thought that if you weren't at war, you weren't doing what you were supposed to be doing. That's how the emperors proved themselves. Today, you're seeing the same thing. You have an individual or several individuals that think the only way they can expand their countries is to go to war and conquer them. That's what the Romans did. And you saw how that worked out for them, don't you? They're not around. You will always find out that somebody will be stronger than you are. That's just a fact of life. Oh, now today you got weapons that far exceed anything the Romans had. But you would not believe how many people would be killed in these battles that the Roman took place in. I'm going to give you an example. There was a time about 150 years after they killed my grandson that the Jewish population rose up against the Romans. The Romans responded by killing over 500,000. Think about that. 500,000 basically innocent people were destroyed by the Romans. Now, it is possible today that you can have a single weapon that will destroy 5, 10 times that amount. That is a terrible, terrible thing. When I looked at Mary, I felt nothing but love towards her. I knew that she was, well, I didn't know. I had had dreams where the angels told me that I was giving birth to a very special child. I didn't totally realize what was going to take place. No one did. Mary was sent back with one of the most special missions of all time. She was sent back to give birth to the baby Jesus. That birth changed the world. That birth brought forth a child that would speak of the one God, that would lead others, that would instill a faith in others that they would face death rather than not admit that they were Christians. How many of you could say the same thing? Probably very few. You see, those early Christians did not fear death. My grandson told them that they would be with him in heaven and that heaven was the most incredible place that they could ever conceive of. So they had no fear of death. They knew that they were going to a better place. How many of you out there can say that you don't fear death? Oh, I know there are some of you whose faith is so complete that you have no fear of it. I know Barry and Connie totally understand the concept of death. They are trying to tell others that death is but the beginning. It is your soul that has everlasting life. It is not your body. That's the way God meant it. But let me get back to a mother's love. That is something I know much about. There are mothers that pray to me, and I try to help them, guide them, and lead them. I can't speak to them in person, but I can speak with their guides, and their guides will try to lead them on the path that is best for them. Let me speak for just a moment about the greatest oddity. A mother's love that allows her to abort her child. Abortion's a terrible thing. We never ever conceived of the fact that a baby would be killed in the womb. When a baby was conceived, we felt that it was an act of love and it was something that the gods approved of. Now, you notice I said gods because the Romans worshiped many gods, and that was the world that I lived in. Yes, I was Jewish and I understood the concept of one God, but the Romans were very emphatic that multiple gods were the way of things. When I looked in the eyes of my daughter Mary, I saw nothing but love. Now, I want you to think for a moment what would have happened if I would have had an abortion? Mary would have never been born. Mary would have never had Jesus. Jesus would have never been able to change the world. Think about that for a moment. All of you that think that abortion is such a great thing. Oh, of course, you probably don't believe in my son or my grandson. So, yeah, you can rationalize around it. But if I had aborted Mary, Christianity may not have ever come into existence. And for all you know, You could still be living under the Romans. So you see, love creates a chain of events that helps humanity. A mother's love is one of the most important things. Have you ever watched how animals protect their young? There is much to be learned from that. A mother bear will protect her young and will be one of the fiercest things you could ever lay your eyes on as she does it. You would not want to get between a bear and her baby. But yet, a mother will kill her baby in the womb. How does that happen? Well, we tell you continuously that evil is everywhere. Abortion is evil. Do not think for one moment that God would ever approve of killing a child in the womb. That would never happen. Common sense tells you it'll never happen. Well, let's try this on for size. The golden rule: do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Would you want your mother to have killed you in the womb? I don't think so, or you wouldn't be here. So you see, this all becomes a logical path. Follow your common sense, but know love. Love is the one thing that can create an environment of understanding, cooperation. You do not have to love your enemy, but you do not have to hate them. If a person does something toward you, steals from you, hurts you through violence, we're not saying that you have to love that person. You can dislike them, but don't hate them. You try to forgive. Forgiveness is very, very important. God forgives all of you for so many things in your lives that you can't understand how many forgivenesses you go through. Try to forgive others for what they do, but correct them. Try to set up an environment where it doesn't happen again. If a person is violent, don't hang around with them. If a person's doing drugs, don't hang around with them. Stay away from evil. Evil has a habit of infecting others. One of the purest things in life is a mother's love. Oh, I'm not saying fathers don't love as deeply, because they do. It's only that I was a mother, so I know what mother's love is. I know that my husband adored Mary. He adored our other children. He did his best to guide our children to do what was right. Now, Mary was so exceptional. Mary was sent back specifically to give birth to Jesus. Oh, I cannot tell you how wonderful that child was. Now, I did not know him for long, because in those days we passed at an earlier age. But I did get to see him and to know him as a child. When I laid my eyes on him, I just could not believe the feelings that I had in my heart. I knew that I was looking at pure goodness. I was looking at pure love. I knew that I was looking at something special. Look at your family as something special. Know that each member is capable of showing great love, is capable of spreading the words of God, and is capable of doing all of the things that we did. Use the tools that you have to advantage to spread the words of God. You have telephones, you have social media, you have many, many ways to speak of God. Use those media to spread his words, to do what is right, and to show a mother's love. So thank you for allowing me to speak with you. I really enjoyed being able to come through. I don't get to do this much. What I do in heaven is to influence from behind a curtain of not being well known, but I do the best I can. Please, all of you do the best you can. You will be rewarded when you return home. Show the love of a mother to others. You don't have to be a mother to show the love. So, anyway, thank you for listening to me. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Should you wish, I would return again. So, goodbye. God is blessing all of you that are listening. He hangs around when I speak, and he is in all of you. You better believe that. So, goodbye, and I will speak with you again. Pretty good message.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we'll be back next week. We'll be with St. Thomas Aquinas, and all will be well. Have a good one.
All right. Well, there you go. A great message from St. Anne. I wasn't overly familiar with her either. I mean, I knew she existed, obviously, but I didn't know there's not a whole lot written about her. Sadly, that's why it's so great to be able to for her to be able to come through like this and speak to people. She's a wonderful spirit. Uh, yeah, like she said, it even if you aren't a mother, that doesn't mean that you can't love like one. Uh, love everyone. Uh, do everything you can to spread God's message. Uh, be that light for everyone around you. There's not a whole lot I can say after that. That was a pretty powerful message. um, but next week we'll be talking with St. Thomas Aquinas. That should be an interesting show. I've actually got to look him up. I don't know a whole lot about him either. Um, I'll look it up. But until then, do unto others as you'd have them done to you. Be the light in that dark world, and take care of each other. Look after one another, and we'll see you next time. And God bless.